Hi, and welcome to my American Literature Back to School Night video. American Literature or English 11, it's the same course. I tend to refer to it as American Literature because that's what we focus on. A little bit about me. I have been here since 1988. These pictures are from a little bit prior to that. This is when I was in high school. I like to share these with my students to show them what I looked like when I was their age. Um, This is me in 1988 when I was hired here. And I did take a couple years off in the mid 90s. Was in a band and played professionally for a few years, but came back and have been here since. This is a more recent picture of me. I guess I've aged a little bit. Here's my contact information. You can always use email, of course, but I like to use Remind. Remind is a great app. You do not have to have a phone, though, to use Remind. It's also web based, but using it as an app, it essentially is like a texting program. And I have it broken down into last names, A through L, and then M through Z for my students. And then I also have an account for parents. It's free. I would suggest if you want to get in touch with me that you use Remind rather than emails. A lot of times I don't even get to my email until the end of the day if I'm lucky. So the short story there is try not to email me, use Remind. I say the same thing to my students too. Next thing is grade breakdown. My majority of my assignments are these what are called participation assignments. They're the day-to-day assignments. They're like the building blocks to our larger assignments. And those are only 10% of the overall grade. They're small and in the long run will not end up having a huge effect one way or the other on the students' grades, directly anyway. Indirectly, they do help because they are leading to those larger assignments. The tests, for instance, are 30% of the overall grade. My tests, by the way, are always open book and open notes. I usually do a review after one administration of the test, looking at questions that students had problems with, trying to determine if the problem is with my teaching or problems with them understanding. And once we've done the review, I'll do the test again, giving them another chance. And they get the higher of the score, the two scores that they earn on the test. Essays and writing, 30% also. That's the same kind of thing where we spend time on writing and then they submit for a scoring. If they get their writing back and they don't like the score that they have, they are welcome to revise and resubmit for a higher grade. Finally, my end of unit exams, 30%, and they also have the opportunity to review and retest for a higher grade. The end of unit exams, also open book, open notes. I'm not testing for memory, I'm testing for understanding, testing for ability to apply their understanding to sometimes new contexts, new readings, etc. I do a new grade book every 6 weeks. I don't like to have a grade or something that a student earned in August or September to be affecting them in December. I hope that by December they have changed in their understanding and their abilities. So I like to have the grades be the most recent grades that affect their progress reports. Of course, the last 6 weeks is the 6 weeks that goes on to the transcript. And my hope is that for those first 6 weeks, the second 6 weeks that they go through learning, applying their knowledge, getting a grade for it, that after the 12 weeks, they've had some practice and they understand what I'm looking for. And that last 6 weeks, the one that counts, they'll get the best grade possible. One of the things I'll get contacted by students and parents asking, what did I miss? Or which assignment is this that's in Aries? What I do is I put a number in front of the assignment in Google Classroom. That is my learning management system that I use, sometimes called an LMS. And in Google Classroom, I number the assignments to match the number of the assignment in Aries. Aries automatically numbers the assignments, starting with number 1. So you can see that in this screenshot here, the number 1 day 1 questionnaire matches the name of the assignment in Aries down there, number 1. And then it tells you how many points it's worth out of 100. Sorry, how many points it's worth, and then that is converted to 100 points. A little complicated. I can explain that to you later if you would like. Number 2 assignment, about me, matches the number 2 assignment there. These are older assignments. This is from last year. I just used the same screenshot. For the course content, typically I teach chronologically. I'm going to focus this year more on teaching thematically. It'll probably still be presented in a chronological fashion, the information, the readings, etc. But I like to look at the various American literary and historical movements that have occurred here, and use that to explore students' current understanding of the world. And I like to have them work on interpretation, drawing logical inferences, and doing critical analysis. Each literary movement, by the way, just a little side note, something I like to impress upon the students, each literary movement is a reaction against the previous movement. If we start with the English persecuting the Puritans, so they came over here reacting to that English rule, and then the rationalists are the next group that reacted against the Puritans, and then we have the transcendentalists reacting against the rationalists, and just goes on and on and on. I hope to explore various movements in American literature. And again, this year I'm planning to do it in more of a thematic way. So I might not necessarily focus on just one movement at a time, but I might look at a variety of movements and see how they all have influenced each other. I also like to teach the complicated technological tools that students have available to them now that they each have a Chromebook or some sort of device that they use in the classroom. This has become more and more important. I am a bit of a tech nerd, so this is an area of expertise that I have, and I'm happy to share that with my students, my knowledge. One of the things I've done for this first 6 weeks since we've been back is something I called the Oceanside High School COVID-19 Time Capsule. And I've included a link within this slideshow and also in the Google Doc that you've got the link to this video and the other teacher videos. This I'm calling it an app. When you open it up, it is a slideshow, but it opens up in present mode and works kind of like an app in that you can click on it to move to different areas within the slideshow. The purpose, the students were out last year for a long period of time, and I felt they lost a bit of a connection with this school. The school has a great history. And one of the things that struck me is that this was not the first pandemic that students from OHS had gone through. So from that, I did some exploring and research and found this yearbook from 1919. It does make a reference to the great influenza epidemic of 1918. That I've provided scans to this scans of this yearbook in the app that you can explore. This is one reference we found. It's called Flu Masks. It's a poem that a student wrote about having to wear masks, to school. So this was in 1919 that this was published. And the whole thing was interesting to me, and I hope the students found it interesting as well. When you get into this, you'll notice that these are all clickable areas to explore, including the yearbook excerpts on the left. And on the right-hand side, broken down by period, I have links to the student work that they did. There's an essay that they're finishing up right now, and I'm getting the links put in there. You'll have to have district access in order to read what they wrote. The prompt was asking them what would they put in a time capsule and what kind of message of hope would they offer to the next group of students here at OHS if they have to endure another pandemic? What did we learn that we could pass on to students in the future? So that's pretty much all I have. I hope that we can have some fun here in the class as well. And I'd like to thank you for enjoying this video. Take care.